Hello everyone, it's Dave. Hope you're okay today. I've just had a haircut and a cutthroat shave. What do you think? Filming from the back garden today. Hope you can hear me okay because there's someone doing some power washing, I think, some jet washing somewhere near. Anyway, I wanted to recount a brief story from a couple of nights ago. I'm sure it's one that you'll all be able to relate to, and also using that story as inspiration to remind everyone that it is our responsibility to take on tyranny and to take on tyrants, bring them to task. So, what day are we on? Is it Friday? Yeah, it was Wednesday, and I went into Liverpool with my dad for a few drinks. Around a few pubs, which was great. Obviously we didn't stay in the pubs with tyrannical measures in place, but most places were okay, and we had a good afternoon, had some tea, and then we got the train back after a few drinks, and then the local bus out to where we live. I just live around the corner from my mum and dad. Now, I'd heard from an old lady a few weeks ago about a bus driver who was a real bully and who was making people feel awkward and demanding they do things they don't want to do with regard to face coverings. This old lady said she was told off for not wearing the face covering correctly. Now, as you know, I'm exempt because I have asthma, which is pretty handy, isn't it, really? But I do have asthma and I am exempt. I'd never wear one anyway, but it doesn't matter because I'm exempt. So, stepped onto the bus and quite aggressively he said, "Where's your mask?" So I said, "I'm exempt. Show me some proof." I said, "No, I don't have to. You should have something to prove that you're exempt." I said, "No, I don't. Or at least you should have a lanyard." And I said, "No, I don't. Let me onto your bus and stop harassing me." But no, he insisted. So I said to him, "There's absolutely nothing you can do to stop me getting onto this bus as a member of the public, use this public transport to get me home, and you have absolutely no power over me. So let me onto this bus." Which in the end he did. And then me and my dad both got off at the same stop. Like I say, they live very close to me and Sarah. And he disappeared down the alleyway to his house. And I said to the bus driver, and this is the crucial thing, because these tyrants are amongst us. There's not actually that many of them, but they are amongst us and they are relatively prevalent. They must be taken to task. And bearing in mind as well that I'd had it on good authority from the old lady that she had been given a hard time. So it appears that this is something that this bully likes to do. So as I was getting off, I said to him, "Don't you dare ever treat me or another one of your passengers like that ever again." And he wasn't very happy. He said, "I'm trying to keep everyone safe and I've got asthma." I said, "Oh, right, okay." I said, "I've got asthma as well, actually, but I fail to understand how the fact you having asthma correlates to your want and need to give your passengers a hard time for not doing something that you want them to do." I said, "Don't you ever treat your passengers like that ever again." And then I said to him, and this is a handy thing to remember, I think. I said to him, "You see that camera there? That's all the evidence I need to get in contact with your company and report you for harassment. And there's nothing that you will be able to do about that. Unless you apologise to me right now and admit you were in the wrong. He then bizarrely ripped his mask off. I don't know why he did that. And shook my hand and said, I'm sorry. To which I said, right, I won't report you because you've apologised. Don't do it again. So we'll be getting on that bus at some point in the next few days to observe. Now, I'm not some kind of vigilante at all. But this type of behaviour demonstrated by certain individuals who live amongst us and who clearly thrive of thinking that they have a little bit of power needs to be nipped in the bud every single time it happens. And it doesn't matter who they are. And the key thing to remember is that if you're exempt, you're exempt. You don't need to justify to anybody at all. And realise as well that nobody has power over you. Nobody has the right to enforce rules on you that they have no authority to enforce. Rules on you that aren't even there. So, I think for those who really understand how really bad things happen, I'm going to say bad things, how Hitler was able to kill millions of people, how Stalin was able to kill 3 times the number that Hitler did, Mao, Pol Pot, keep going. There's countless other examples. I think those who understand how that happened, understand it happened because millions of people did unconscionable things that they wouldn't have dreamt of doing without the influence of propaganda and the moral corruption that ensues. The tyranny that we've seen in history and that we're seeing played out now it can be orchestrated by a few, but it cannot be implemented by a few. It is implemented by many. It's implemented literally by millions of people. Some uncomfortably, some obeying without question, and some enjoying dishing out the tyranny. And for the ones who enjoy the bullying, these people deserve no respect until and if they reflect and apologise and realise that they are doing the work of the devil. And let me say again, for the purposes of this video, this doesn't apply. I'm not calling into question any medical guidance surrounding the use of face masks. Obviously this story relates to me and my personal experience as somebody who is exempt from wearing a face mask, and the fact that this tyrant tried to justify his attempted coercion on the basis of a rule or a law that simply doesn't exist. So I'm not calling it into question, YouTube. What I'm saying is that there are those who justifiably, for medical reasons, anxiety reasons, cannot wear a face covering, and they have a right to not be coerced into that, and they have a right to not be harassed by other members of the public, whether they think they have power or not. So if and when this continues to happen to you, and it doesn't happen very often, I must admit, I think it's only happened to me 3 or 4 times, and each time I've taken the person to task. Make sure you continue to take these people to task. They need to be nipped in the bud. And the way that you win a battle is a war. The way you win a war is by winning the tiny little battles along the way. that actually aren't tiny, they're significant. Like that one there I've just described. You can use persuasion, you can use reasoning, you can use empathy, you can use understanding, or in this case you can use shock tactics, and you can step it up, obviously in a non-threatening way, just in an assertive way, like me. Don't need to shout and swear at these people. We need to be firm and let them know that under no circumstances will they direct our behaviour, whether they think they can or not. So if you need to shame them, if you need to embarrass them, do it. This isn't a time, as I've said on many occasions before, this is not a time for niceness. This is a time to be good, not to be nice. And that unfortunately means taking on people who've joined the dark side. Maybe they were already on the dark side. So there we go. This is more crucial than ever right now, as we are reaching a very critical juncture, I think. The next few months is going to be very interesting. But some individuals have enjoyed what they think is the power that they possess. And I think many of those individuals are going to be reluctant to give up those illusory powers. So we're going to dig their heels in. So we dig our heels in. We let them know who's boss. And when I say who's boss, we let them know we have authority over our own lives, nobody else. We have authority over our own decisions, not them. They have zero power. They cannot coerce or influence us or force us or bully us or manipulate us, and we will not let them. So there we go. I thought I'd tell you that story. Like I say, it doesn't happen often, which is great. But I think the fact it doesn't happen often is because there are those of us who refuse to let this cancer spread, this cancer in society spread, because spread it will if we let it. So remember how important your role is at the moment. You have a responsibility and you are fulfilling it every single day in speaking the truth, being brave, treading the less worn path, showing leadership, being an inspiration for others, and taking tyranny on when you see it and defeating it. As long as we keep doing that as individuals and as a group, then we can make the case that there's better times eventually to come. Okay. If you like my content, please do subscribe to The Imperfect Individual, and I'll speak to you very soon. Bye bye.